What's your confidence meter? Browns win. If they have Myles Garrett, what is it? And if they don't, what is it?
Yeah, if Myles Garrett, what's up? First of all, what's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Great to see you. Great to see you.
Look, fresh shaved head. Love to see it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Looking clean.
With Myles Garrett playing, I'm probably at like 60% chance they will win this game. I have the LA Chargers winning this game, and 40% if he doesn't play.
All right.
You know, it's just. Yeah, I just LA, the Chargers right now with all the injuries the Browns have on defense. You know, I went back and rewatched that game. Listen, they had Joker playing the Sam position at some point. You know, it was all over the place. And without having Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett in that lineup to anchor those edges, you add another element of surprise and their inability to stop whatever the offense is throwing at them from a run game. And then you add that up with some of the inconsistency on the back end. And the Chargers with, you know, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Jared Everett. I mean, they got their hands full this week from a defensive standpoint.
How do you
the Chargers, they're firing on all cylinders offensively.
No, they ain't without their left tackle though. So, that's your weakness right there.
He's going against Rochelle. You know how I feel about girlfriend.
What you mean?
The girl?
His ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, man. It was just a crush.
Listen, the difference between
she didn't know you existed.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on.
Right past me.
Let's get something clear right now. It will be different this week because Myles Garrett will be there. Okay, whether he plays or not, he will be there. So if the D-line start tripping. Remember, I went on the rant about how they didn't have no leadership. I'm praying to God that if he's standing there, he will not allow that to happen, even if he's not on the field. He at least will say something.
We really haven't seen that out of him, though. We haven't seen his fire and brimstone.
But you're asking a lot of him.
It's time.
Say it, DeQuell.
It's time.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're asking a lot of Myles Garrett. That I don't think that's his deal. I think when they lost AWalk, that was his deal of kind of being that outspoken leader in real time. And I saw that clip, Tyvis, of you going off, and I felt the same way. That 10-play drive where you don't pass the ball, you run the ball every single snap. It was just man on man, and it just was not the Cleveland way of playing defense, and it was embarrassing. And hopefully those guys don't want to go through that again. But anytime you give up a touchdown, just in that manner, that's demoralizing. And what it reminded me was, are we really that top heavy? Does Jadeveon Clowney being out and Myles Garrett really have that big of effect on our defense? And it does. Because the timing from the secondary, now you're covering for 5, 6, 7 seconds. No defensive back wants to do that. Your shot clock is off because when those guys are healthy, the opposing quarterback only has a certain amount of time to get that ball off, or those guys are going to wreak havoc on the game. So it's so many different things happening right now from a defensive standpoint that I did not foresee happening. Even with these injuries, I thought they were a group that had played long enough together to be able to avoid some of these big mistakes that's happened in the last few weeks.
Well, I think this is the perfect scenario for the Browns for their defense in the situation that they're in. And I only say that because right now the strength of the team is the secondary, because those are the only 4 guys that don't have any injuries. So and coming into this year, that was like they were supposed to be. When you think of Genu and you think of Martin and you think of Denzel and these guys, like they're supposed to be that. And this is the one opportunity where it solely depends on them. Like that secondary, if they come play together and click on all cylinders, is Keenan Allen playing? Do anybody know?
We don't know definitively unless I missed it.
But he hasn't practiced.
When I looked
this
morning, he was still
Yeah, he hasn't practiced. So that's one less guy. Like this is like if your guys are going to be hurt, like this will be the week where the secondary has to come to play. And now they're going to have to play man 70 snaps because zone is just not their thing. But I think it can be done. I found out why they struggle though, DeQuell. I listened to Joe Wood's press conference and he was saying that a lot of the times he goes out there, he gives them 2 calls. And what the problem is, Joe Woods is falling into the trap of trying to play the perfect call for the perfect formation.
Right.
So
when he makes 2 calls, it's up to the individual player to pick
all 11 of them has to be on the same page that this is the formation that we play into.
Talk to the danger of that.
You see?
Yeah,
what
so
the
I mean, you can only get away with that if you have a veteran play caller once, and then you have veterans around you and guys who communicate. Because Tyvis knows this as well as anyone. When you have double calls, that means there's checks within those calls. And when you have a bunch of guys that aren't on the same page, and when you're playing at home on third down, the crowd is loud, you're trying to communicate, it just compounds the issue. So he's going to have to simplify things a lot, knowing that pass rush isn't there. And the only thing, to your point, Tyvis, the only thing that scares me about this week and playing Justin Herbert, he's a full field quarterback. Like, he'll go through all of his progressions. And if you're not on the same page, he's going to find that open man.
That's why they're going to play man.
Listen, the only way to help this defense, you got to simplify things.
So, DeQuil, when does it go down? When does it go down like this, DeQuil? When you are, I get what you're saying about the double calls, but at some point it becomes mano y mano. You're not going to do me, right? When does it go to that? I know when it goes to that in basketball, right? You can give me all the tendencies and everything else. At the end of the day, I got you. You can't get there.
Well,
you can't get to this hoop. Right.
Right. You would have thought it would have happened during that 10-play drive when they ran the ball down our throat. I was waiting on somebody to lose their mind on the field. Get everybody together on the sideline.
I'm telling you.
I saw it last night in the Denver game. Gilmore was like, the cornerback was like on Russell. He's like, it's not happening. Don't even throw my way. It's not happening. Right. So when does that occur in the football setting? When I don't care what's called,
you should be out the gate.
It's not happening today. Because I watched the guy off the practice squad come in and just do us, right? Basically, they just called him up like 48 hours, like from the bus station, the Greyhound bus station. Come on in here, dude.
He ran like a Greyhound bus.
It should be out the gate.
Yeah, you would think it's happening every day, because I couldn't imagine being on that field when that happened. It was the lack of just intensity. I didn't see that juice. Regardless of the call, listen, the players make the call, and to your point, Brad, it becomes about, I'm going to win more of these one-on-ones than you are. It just boils down to that, and I don't think they have the leadership. I don't know who's that song leader right now that AWOL is out, because, game time. There's many instances where I remember just, hey, I had a talk with the guys. Like, hold on, coach. Let me get the guys for a second. It was me and the other guys who were just, we got to spark a fire under everyone, because this is not cutting it. How they're playing right now is not cutting it. I get the inexperience from the linebacker standpoint. They're having issues playing coverage, zone coverage, which is mind-blowing that an NFL team can't be better in this area, and it has a lot to do with the linebackers. The secondary, they have to make up for the mistakes of the linebackers, whether it's gap control, whether it's in coverage. And it's just a bunch of holes on this defense. And Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, a pass rush, covered up a lot of these things. But listen, they need someone to rise to the top right now, because right now they need a leader.
Let me tell you this. See, I've heard everybody talk, and the thing I got a problem with is NFL is getting to the point where we done excused ourselves all the way out the game. The first thing you hear is it's early. Second thing you hear is injuries. Second thing, we one play away. We just got to clean this up. If you take away these 2 turnovers in Mays, we would have blew them out. Bro, I'm tired of hearing that. Maybe you just not good. Maybe the Cleveland Browns is not as good as we think they are, because you brought up a great point. If you can't do nothing defensively because your defensive ends are out, you got a problem. Right. And it goes to roster construction. You've been trying to hide certain people forever. Your D tackles ain't up to snuff. So you think, because I got Myles Garrett and Clowney out here, I could hide Elliott and Taven Bryan.
I can go cheap.
Yeah. I ain't got to touch that. Oh, I got a Mark Cooper over here. I ain't got to. I can have rookies over here.
On the other end.
It's about depth.
And what happens is when those key guys go down, now you got the D-line looking terrible across the front. And it goes to now no one makes adjustments. The GM didn't make adjustments and figuring out we need these holes. And now you got a defensive coordinator that's given 2 plays to backup guys instead of saying, I'm confident in one thing. When you give me 2 or something, that means you ain't got one good something. go with the one good call and live and die with the mistakes. I just don't see it from Joe Woods. I don't see it from the way the roster is built. To me, when they go, I'm just saying, sometimes you don't play with people and you think physically they're good, but after you get the homework, DeQuell, you're like, man, I'm watching film. That dude been getting blocked all year. Maybe he ain't that good.
It's thrown everyone off. It's thrown Joe Woods off. I think he said it in his presser. When you are missing that type of production and that pressure on the quarterback, it changes the way you call the game, whether or not he wants to admit it or not. Now you have to think about, he's probably asking himself the same question. And they have to do a lot of self-scouting.
Yep.
You know, right now more so than anything, because a lot of your production is out. Okay, what do my guys do well? When I make a call, can all 11 guys execute and be clean with it? And I don't see it happening right now. We can make excuses. It's early, injuries, what have you. But the offense has played well. Jacoby Brissett has played better than expected. He's doing his part. It's mind-blowing that we're talking so much about the defense when we thought coming into the season they would be the stronghold of this team, regardless of injury, because we assumed we had the depth, especially on the back end.
DeQuell, is it fixable, and if so, how?
Is it fixable? Absolutely. I think you got to call a really simplistic game plan.
Yep.
If all 11 guys are on the same accord, understand their job, their responsibility every single snap, it's not going to be pretty, but at least you're competitive and you're not giving up easy plays. Just like, I made the comment about Jacoby Brissett making his layup throws. Well, it's the same could be said about defense. If you know your guys can execute certain calls, stick with that, and then you kind of grow with it. But you would think that was something that was figured out in the spring, in training camp. So when you get to the regular season, it should be like a light switch. You turn it on, you know exactly what your guys are capable of. But, I don't know.
It's funny you said that, though, because, DeQuell, we've talked about it on the program a couple of times. Herb Street brought it up last night in what was one of the worst NFL games I have ever witnessed.
Yes.
Ever. I literally, as I'm watching these teams try to operate last night, I thought I've seen better preseason games in which the starters didn't even play. It was all field goals. It went to overtime. Nobody wanted to win the damn game. 7 field goals. And Herb Street mentioned it's almost like September has been preseason. Yeah. Because scoring is down. You got, and I know that they're both, not so much Russell, but Matt Ryan is older. But these guys have done it. They've played in Super Bowls. They've played in Pro Bowls. They've been great. And I'm watching these guys last night, and they look like Baker Mayfield. And so
it looked awful.
I don't know where we are in the NFL, but Herb Street said it too. It looks like we're still in the preseason, and everybody's trying to figure it out.
Which is why the Browns got a chance to win on Sunday, right there.
They're in first place. All the complaining we've done about the Browns, they're in first place.
Well, let me ask you a question. What about this? To me, the D-line up front, the middle interior of the D-line is severely challenged. What can we do about that?
Man, I wish I had a crystal ball laying around here somewhere.
Man.
What about signing Ndamukong Suh? He's out there.
I mean, you have to kick the tires on it at this point. Who else is going to give you that production? Because we're witnessing everything at real time, that you're so top heavy and so dependent on Myles Garrett and these guys to generate pass rush. That's all you have. So listen, I don't know. I wish I had an answer. I don't know. I think you definitely have to look into free agency, look who can come in, who's a veteran guy who can, at least get pressure and make the guys behind him, the linebackers, much better, because that's how it goes, right? If your D-line is struggling, you assume your linebackers can pick up the slack and make those guys right. But right now it's been a hodgepodge of just mistakes and mental errors and guys running all over the place.
You getting manhandled. You get manhandled on the line. Manhandled.
Yeah, I went back and looked at the linebackers. Obviously, I'm biased. I just wanted to see for myself, watching that all 22, what the heck are we doing? And listen, I hate to keep piling on, but the guys are just fundamentally, Joker, for instance, I spoke so much about him coming into this season. I didn't think he should be a guy that ever left the field defensively. He's playing with pure just raw athleticism. He's not. He's playing with bad eyes. He's not reading run pass. He's using his physical. He's doing what he did in college, and the professional level. But you can't do that.
Can't do it.
You know, one false step, you're out of the play, and you can't do it. Fundamentally, he's all over the place, and you know,
I'm gonna throw you a curveball. I'm gonna throw you a curveball on the offensive side. Mm-hmm. Makes sense to bring Beckham back here.
Oof. Beckham, you know what? I think he would probably want to come back, given that Deshaun Watson would come back at some point, knowing that, you know, this offense. Listen, the guy is a ball player. He wants to play. Mm-hmm. And regardless of what helmet he's wearing, he wants to get out there and show that he's still marketable. He still can play, even with all the injuries in the past. And listen, if I'm a GM, I'm reaching out to anyone that's explosive, that can help this football team win.
Because the Rams, to your point, the Rams did that last year.
Yeah.
They went and got Von Miller. They went and got another pass rush, upgraded that, go give me Odell Beckham Jr., and they end up winning. You need to bolster this in some way, shape, or form.
But you got to have people that are not risk adverse. The winning team.
He's risk adverse, and here's why. You bring him in, you don't know, he's likely going to be ready around the time we get Deshaun Watson back. Mm-hmm. If you were to sign him before that, what happens if he comes back this team and we're 4-7?
Well,
that's a big risk.
There's no science to it, but I know that on winning teams, the general managers survey, the good general managers survey the crowd, right? And they survey their team and say, here, and they're honest with themselves. I'm lacking. This is my first round draft choice, but he's still not getting it done. I need another person. And you go fill the gaps. Now, we're not talking about for 10 years. No, we're filling for a year. You weaken wide receiver. You weaken the line. Your linebackers are right. So there's got to be some give here if you're going to salvage the season.
Brad, I literally said before the season started that the defensive tackle, us not having defensive tackles, is a big mistake. And I always reference back to San Francisco. They literally run the same scheme that we run it. Why is it that their defense is better than ours? Well, they got an all-pro linebacker and they got good defensive tackles. We don't, and that's clearly the biggest difference. It's not the scheme, it's the Johns and the Joes.
Well, what you gonna do about the Johns?
They gonna have to get it fixed.
Well, they're gonna have to get it fixed.
Yeah, the problem is
we're waiting to see who can step up.
You run out of time, and you're a quarter of the way done here.
Yeah, and these guys don't fall out of the sky. The fact that we're a quarter of the way done, this was wild. They showed this stat last night too. It's stunning. 30 of the 32 teams are within a play of being 2-2. 15 of the 32 are 2-2. 8 are 3-1. 7 are 1-3. You've got one undefeated and one team that hasn't won yet.
It could turn.
It could turn. I have never seen parity and mediocrity like we have in the league right now. Because even if you look at the team that is undefeated in Philadelphia, they've had a couple of close calls.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody could easily be 2-2.
Jay, think about this. Coming into the season, what we say was the best division, AFC West, and Raiders just got their first win, and everybody else over there is kind of Denver's not good.
The Raiders got their first win, and we thought with the addition of an all-world wide receiver that they suddenly would be like the other teams in the West. They were going to throw the ball all over the place. They finally got their first win on the legs of a running back. That's how they won Sunday.
I will say this, in my prior life, right? You watch and, I took my Series 7 when I passed. People thought you was a day trader. I ain't no day trader. I don't know nothing about that. But they always told me, I work with a lot of smart investors. They survey the area, they survey the landscape. And when you got mediocrity like this, the great ones will find an area to invest in. The great ones will find and say, oh, I got a little extra capital. Let me throw that on this, because now you got an opportunity to make it roll. Everybody is even. Everybody got the same record. Everybody is about 2-3 games. The smart teams is going to recognize and see opportunity in this. Not to say, well, we 2-2. What can I do to be 3-2? What can I do to put these dudes away? Because we close now. Everybody, even the teams you thought was good, ain't good, right?
Yeah.
Take advantage of that. Seek and go get some people out there. Because I'm going to tell you what, I watched all 22 like DeQuell. I watched Alex Wright. His awareness is so low that some plays they don't even block him. They didn't block him 3 times against Atlanta, and he would be in the backfield. and the running back will just sidestep him, or he'll run past the play, or he didn't even know where he was at. And I said, oh, this poor fella, not reading no keys. This poor fella, you have no way. One time he got caved down. He got knocked into the rest of the D-line. They had the bowling ball pins. They fell over. And then they just walking out. I said, bro,
It's comical.
It's comical.
DeQuell, did you see that clip I sent you with the linebacker? They pulled the guard and none of the linebackers fell back.
Yeah. Oh my God. I got it written down right here.
And I know that. I was safety, and I know that you're supposed to fall back.
These guys fundamentally they're not where they need to be because that play they're going to see that play from here on out because they over pursue.
Yeah,
they over pursue.
They didn't. So it's bad eyes, man.
Isn't it safe then? I mean, when you're the coach of all these guys, we're pointing out all these guys not fundamentally sound. They're not on the right page. They're in the wrong place. They're making the wrong reads. I know that it's hard to put all the blame on one person, but it has to go to the coach. I mean, if everybody's out there running around on 11 individual plays and nobody's reading the keys and doing the right stuff, at some point I have to bring the coach in and say, what the hell are we doing out there?
Yeah, no doubt. That's exactly who you have to point to because you have all this speed, all this talent, and the names on the back of the jerseys alone, we should not be talking this much about this defense and how poorly they've been playing. You know, you spend a lot of money on Denzel Ward. You know, you look at the first touchdown last week, it was in the boundary. He was the boundary corner, and he let the running back get outside of him. You know, it's just like little small detail things that obviously, you know, we give a lot of credit to like Bill Belichick. Coaching means a lot in this league, but also, you know, you have to go out and execute and perform as a player. But for whatever I have to believe they're going over all of these different things in meeting rooms throughout the week. It's just not. They're just not. It's not. The message isn't coming clear. And now you think about being in the locker room and understanding they're probably talking about all these different things. Who's the player that's holding these guys accountable at each level? And that's where it becomes an issue, and it starts to show its head on Sundays when they're playing.
Well, you know what I don't see, DeQuell? This is what I don't see. Mm-hmm. I see a bunch of young dudes out here running around here and no real veterans out here.
That's exactly what's happening.
Well, that's to G. Bush's point. That's roster construction.
No real veterans.
When you're in charge of putting the roster together, that's something that every GM has to take into account.
You have to have, and they might not be your star players,
right?
But they hold the glue together. But I'm gonna tell you need Sue in the line, you need a linebacker, and you need Odell Beckham Jr. in here just to level the ship here. Because
they could have had Jarvis Landry at a discounted price. They'd let him get away to the Saints. That's a move.
That was the biggest. I think right there, that was the biggest mistake we made right there. Because even though he plays offense, he would have walked down on that defense.
Veteran leadership.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, let's turn it. I feel like we're stuck in the soup of what's happened. Let's look forward. Quell, I want your X factor for both teams on both sides of the ball. You can start wherever you want, but who is the X factor that absolutely must be on point Sunday for their team to win?
I mean, clearly for the Chargers, it's the quarterback for me. The quarterback, obviously, you know, because he's playing with an injury. I think he fractured his ribs or something like that. Listen, he makes that ship go. He makes all those guys. You know, that's why they have the number one passing attack. So that's the obvious answer. I think for our offense, I mean, it's got to be, man, that's tough. I want to say offensively, but it's got to be Joe Woods. Joe Woods, he has to coach a better game. He has to get these guys playing together and playing with a purpose to even have a chance to compete with this air attack of Justin Herbert and this offense. And defensively, defensively or offensively for us, I think Jacoby Brissett, he's got to continue to be that leader that he is, that he's shown he could be for us. But you cannot put him in harm's way and ask him to put the ball in his hands when you need to go down and score a touchdown or a field goal, because we've seen it against the Jets and last week. You know, that's not his wheelhouse. That's not his strength. You can't put him in that position. So I think he could definitely be he will definitely be the X factor for us if he can make those layups down the field and hit the guys that are open, you know.
Tyvis, you had an interesting one.
Kevin Stefanski?
For the Browns on offense. Because normally you would say, well, Nick Chubb's got to be Nick Chubb. But if this game turns into a shootout, like it likely will, you've got the number one passing offense in Justin Herbert against a defense that got like 11 individuals just kind of, it's like the old vibrating football machine. You used to turn on the switch, and the guys
I used to love that game.
And it would buzz all over. You're like, wait, my guy's running to the locker room. Where's he going? That's what I feel like I'm watching sometimes with this defense. So I think, Tyvis, you might be right. The most important individual in the entire contest might be Stefanski and calling the right game plan.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta realize what you got. We've been harping on it. If running the ball is what's successful, then you got to stick with it. You can't turn this thing into a shootout. That's what they want. They're suited for a shootout. We're not. Yeah, we're not. So we have to clock manage this thing. If they can't stop the run game, we got to keep the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands. That's the only way we're gonna really win this game.
No, I agree.
And I make a joke about it, right? This is ball control. You cannot keep the ball in Herbert's hands, right?
You got listen.
So you know who we are, Tyvis? We Woody Hayes.
But what I'm saying, we sitting here talking about the culture of the team and how we can't find leadership. The running back room is the only room that I know got attitude and dog in them. Like, that's what I'm going behind. I believe Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, he don't say nothing, but his actions on the field speaks for you. But Kareem Hunt seems like one of those guys that'll run through a wall. You need to utilize these two guys because that is your leadership right there. That's the culture of your team right there. You got to use them.
You know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy? If you go look at Pro Football Focus, the Cleveland Browns are their 7th ranked offense in the game. 7th.
They score more
overall.
They score more per game than the Chargers.
They are rated higher than the Chargers with Pro Football Focus, which just goes to show you how much they do got and the level that they can get to if they just tweak and figure out how you gonna run. It's Stefanski. It don't be all the plays. Stefanski got about 5 plays a game that leave everybody in the city like, what the?
That's the same thing on defense. It's like 5 plays on defense where it's like, what is going on?
You can't waste any snaps in today's NFL. And DeQuell, you touched on this too, but when you talk about the fact that this offense has really overachieved, it makes it even worse what's going on the defensive side. They were talking coming out of training camp about being the top-ranked defense in the NFL.
Generational.
What?
They're throwing the Buckeyes around.
And we did believe DeQuell. Because we thought the pieces were there.
The thing is, I hate to say this, they still can do it. It's so much time left for them to still do it.
You know what, though? It reminds me of an orchestra that's got 11 of the best musicians that's ever played their instrument. And you put them in the orchestra pit, and you get a director out there, and he's never directed great musicians, and it's just like he's flailing his arms, and everybody's playing whatever they want to play. There's no organization, it feels like. Synchronicity.
Well, I'm gonna go down to y'all won't say y'all are good professionals. Y'all done played in the league.
Oh my goodness! No, don't say that because I call a spade a spade.
Jay is a patriarch of this whole industry. He's been doing it for thousands of years. His Rolodex crazy. I'ma say it. I'm a YouTuber. I don't do nothing else but this. I got 96 shows. I come from the dirt. If Joe Woods don't get it together, he got to go. I'm sorry. We danced and we tapped and we him and the horn about no. If he don't get it done with this amount of money and talent, I'm sorry. I've been calling him out since 2020. 2019, he got to go.
You may have a point.
I love brothers. I love the brothers, man. I'm sorry. I rail on people for not giving us a shot. But look, bro, I can't do it. You about to get me fired.
Well, here, I listen. You're funny. You funny. But I will say this: you still need pieces. Right?
Yeah.
I'll make that assessment after you give me 3 pieces.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, he has some pieces. He's got Denzel Ward.
Listen.
I think he's missing the key piece, though.
Pieces.
What is it?
He can't play zone coverage.
Wait, DeQuell just said it. Go ahead.
We can't play zone coverage as a defense. You may have a point, G.
Yeah,
we may have a point.
It's sad.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding.
Because the defensive scheme, the zone scheme is so easy.
It's supposed to be easy in principle, in theory, but they're not making it look very easy.
But like I say, the one misplay, you can tie that into pass rush, or you can tie that into the fact
The
that
one misplay cost them the game.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
That 40-yard.
Oh, yeah.
It happened on the last. Yes, it did.
It was over.
was not the game.
It was a field goal range at that point. It was over.
It was a wrap.
It was like 10 minutes left in the game.
No, it wasn't.
it
It
was
was
like-
late in the fourth
it was
quarter.
like-
Yeah.
Wait, you guys talking about the deep over route?
Yeah. Over out.
McNuggets.
What was that play, McNuggets? I know you got the number down. It was
I'll get you the number in a sec, but it was with less than 6 minutes to go.
Absolutely.
I thought it was
But
10.
This is what I see. Here's the problem. You got guys coaching from paper, right? At some point, I said this earlier in the week. What do your eyes tell you?
That's what you got to be
So
a
if your
football
eyes
player,
are telling you,
man.
if you're a student of this game, your eyes are saying, hey, I'm not a zone guy. I can't do that, right?
Right.
So no matter what you got on the paper, might look good on paper, it's not working out here. I got to go to
Yeah.
something else.
Practically, they haven't proven that they can play it for
70
60
snaps
minutes.
a man, I'm telling you.
And when was that play?
The play started with 3:03 left in the fourth
Yeah,
quarter.
that's what I
it's
thought.
done.
Really?
That's what I thought.
And you give up in a tie game, right?
That's it.
It was a
Yeah.
42-yard pass to the Cleveland 49-yard line. They only got 13 yards after that, which set up the
It was death.
game-winning
Right.
field goal. Hey, we got to get the headlines real
Well,
quick. And DeQuell sent us a headline.
Oh, he did. Awesome.
DeQuell, you are officially in the running for our Monday award. Now, before you take this, Steve,
They gave
DeQuell
him-
sent a headline. I made the subhead, so it's a tag team effort.
Oh,
Oh, no.
No,
That's
DQ.
disqualifying.
DQ.
He's gonna have to
Yeah,
get
DQ.
He's gonna have to get the
DQ.
citizenship award on that one.
Yep, DQ.
Don't citizenship award. Don't honor roll, merit roll.
Because I tried to
It's a
do
tag
that,
team
and
effort.
you text me and said I need a sub head. So DQ, that's a DQ. You could have easily
He's
sent
showing
him a
favor-
message
I don't-
right back and said he need a sub.
He's
head.
showing favoritism.
I don't know anything about that, fellas.
See?
That's
The
all
call
we
my boy.
know.
Listen.
Quell, tell them to stop hating on you.
All right, what's the headline?
Let's take
Let's
the
show
first
it.
headline.
Let's show it.
You could read it, DeQuell.
L.A. charges.
Oh,
past the
L.A.
line.
Chargers passed the Browns. Browns zapped by electric passing attack.
Ooh.
That's a good one, though. I like that.
Okay, now
I think I won't be alone on this one.
Hey,
I like that.
Well,
I'm gonna start calling
on,
DeQuell.
man.
I'm gonna call DeQuell Drake. That's a nice opening. See, but you didn't write all them bars though.
What about the?
No, I got. Hey, Drake doesn't write all his bars.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
He's so big. He's got.
Wow.
He's
Still a
got
star, right?
Ghost Rider.
Wow.
Can we go back to that headline? What's up? What's with McNuggets dating
like
life
that.
exposed?
I was
earlier
looking
this
at
week?
that
I
too.
have
like
nothing to
that.
do with those. I didn't see that.
McNuggets
McNuggets dating life exposed earlier this week. Anthony
Whoa,
out of jokes
please do
already.
explain.
Wait, explain on the dating life.
See,
I don't.
Yeah,
I guess
explain.
when Bull asked about my date on Monday, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it was exposed. It's been exposed more than this week. So
Yeah, listen, man.
Is there a second
Okay,
date
I
set
guess
up
we
with
have
your
to talk
date
more
from
about
earlier
that
this week?
offline.
we're working on it.
Working
I'm
on
seeing
it.
schedules can align.
That ain't
All right.
good.
Hey,
That
McNuggets,
ain't
are you
good.
growing? Do you have a shadow right now, or am I?
No, I got.
screen
Listen,
foggy.
I just got lazy. I didn't feel like shaving this week. I'll probably shave tonight.
Okay, I didn't know you
Girl
could
told
grow
me to
facial
look like
Lying.
a
He hasn't
hair.
shaved since May.
Girl told me to look like a lung. Girl told me to look like a
Let the quote
youngster.
go and get to the rest of the
She
headlines.
want
But
dudes with
before
hair,
I took
facial
this
hair.
job, I let my beard grow for 3 months because I had to shave every day for TV. I had a real beard. It actually came in pretty nice. I'll show y'all pictures. It came
Oh
out
my
pretty nice.
God.
Wow. All right.
So the girl from earlier this week said she liked dudes with facial hair.
Nah, I literally was lazy. I was gonna shave yesterday. I was gonna get dinner with Steve, but Steve was too tired, so I was like, I don't gotta shave then. So
You still
Yeah,
look
you
12,
know it was the girl.
even
It
with
was
the
the
beard.
girl.
It was definitely the girl.
It was the girl.
You better tell that to somebody that believe that.
He think you're talking to some rookies.
Yeah. This isn't a fruit rodeo, McNuggets. Hey, DeQuell, enjoy the game. We'll see you next week, man.
All right, fellas, take
My
care.
boy.
Right.
He's
Oh,
out.
Raise,
Come on,
raise a
hold on.
glass. Raise a glass.
There he is.
To
My
the
man.
Guardians, brother.
My
To the
man.
Guardians.
I'll be there to catch a game.
Awesome.
Don't worry about what's in my cup.
I thought I smelled something.
It's 5 o'clock
All
somewhere.
right, fellas.
All right, DeQuell.
That's why he
No,
like
that
the-
was- I
that's
like
why he
that
like the
headline.
brothers.